That works. There we go. We're live now.
All right, fellas. We had
Okay, that works.
okay, cool. We had a couple technical difficulties. Not sure why that happened, but hey, we're back. We had a day off for Thanksgiving. Hopefully, you guys had a good one. We have a football game going on right now, close one in the fourth quarter. But we have the today's the last day of the NBA Cup, I believe, and we do have some elimination scenarios, more important for some teams than others. Really complicated to get through. But Nick, how are we feeling about today's slate?
Yeah, I mean, NBA Cup aside, I really like it. Like, I haven't spent, I spent a lot of time kind of digging into this slate, but not so much as far as these elimination scenarios go. But yeah, there's some really interesting value. I mean, some of it's more popular than other. Plenty of decent payups, kind of mid to high range. So yeah, for a pretty kind of small slate, relatively speaking, I like it a lot. I think there's a lot of variety in terms of all the price ranges tonight.
Nice. I like it. And let's just take a quick look sorting by ownership. We see there's one very heavy piece of chalk, Denny. For some reason, they haven't changed his price. We still have him predicted for 34 minutes, which is awesome. The other day, I mentioned if he started, he'd probably be one of the best plays on the slate. That ended up very true. I don't see any reason why that would change tonight. So he's probably the first player in our dummy tonight.
Oh yeah, bingo. Yeah, still no Jeremy Grant. He's going to be out. Denny, I feel like I keep saying it every Blazers slate, but he was supposed to be the guy on this team, and he's finally getting the minutes, finally getting the usage. He's really looked excellent, and yeah, finally living up to expectations. The expectations he had when he went over to Portland.
I'm trying to run my final FanDuel lineups now, but or my final DraftKings lineups now, but it looks like I'm getting a ton of the Sacramento game over on FanDuel, and makes sense. See, their ownership is over 50%. DeMar DeRozan was ruled out pretty early. Uh, De'Aaron, Malik Monk, actually, and then Demantis will be somewhere in here. But Sacramento, I think, is another strong starting point for the slate.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at the matchup with Portland first and foremost. DeRozan being out obviously creates a big vacuum in terms of usage for the rest of these guys. Fox just a little bit underpriced on FanDuel, especially pretty much where he should be on DK, but still a great play there. Obviously, Portland not very good against guards in terms of defense. Sabonis too, a little bit of extra usage for him. We could go back to what the Kings were last year, where these guys were good plays on every slate, especially in good matchups. With DeRozan there, not as valuable this season to this point, but now that he's out, I mean, we could go right back there and good matchup, pretty high total, relatively close spread. I mean, they check a lot of boxes here. So yeah, pretty easy to get to both of them.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you Malik Monk's ownership would not be like this if he didn't drop 50 in the previous game, right?
Yeah, very true. I mean, he is scoring dependent. The thing with Monk, you get shooting guard eligibility. I don't know. I'm pretty comfortable getting to him. I like him here, but at the same time, I mean, we have seen him have floor games from time to time. If this game were to get out of hand in either direction, he's one of the guys who suffers the most because he kind of comes in late off the bench as a sixth man. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I just really like the matchup. I think it's competitive enough with this game being in Portland. Portland relatively healthy. So yeah, I think he's good. I'd probably let me look, maybe match the field, maybe come a little under that 46% on FanDuel. Um, but there are some really quality. I don't want to say quality, but there's some really fun kind of shooting guard value tonight across this slate. So there's a lot of different ways you could go there.
Yeah, it's like that ownership percentage does not look good. And on first glance, I mean, my first thought was I don't see how I'm going to get there. But now, after building lineups, I don't see how I, get away from Malik Monk. He just, especially on FanDuel, he makes lineups work. DraftKings, it's a little easier to kind of get away, but I'm still over the field over there. Um, Beyond the Kings, let's see if we have any comments in the chat here. Fox, yeah, they signed Jay Crowder the other morning, and then he started for them like 4 hours later, and he actually played minutes. I mean, let's just take a look at the rest of Sacramento since we're on this. Are you interested in anyone else here?
I mean, Herder's price is insane. Like, I'd want to like Herder as a pivot, but I can't pay more for Herder than I'm going to pay for Monk.
Right.
Keegan Murray is probably the one. I mean, Crowder, good player, good NBA kind of glue guy. Not really what we look for in DFS, though. Same with Keon Ellis, not really interested in him. Keegan Murray would kind of be the one piece, maybe interested in that the field isn't getting too aggressively.
Trying to see how much Jake Crowder I got on FanDuel. So I am with the field. He's pulling 21% ownership on FanDuel at the flat minimum price. He played 27 minutes. I mean, the fact that he was able to play 27 minutes and this Kings team, I don't think they're awful, but I mean, Jay Crowder, he's been priced. I think we have to consider him. I'm not saying that he's a guy that I want to jam in, but he will be in my exposures probably on I probably get there a few percent on DraftKings too, even at 3,800.
Yeah, I don't think it's insane. I just think we have other kind of cheap value tonight, maybe a little bit more expensive. But Jacoby Walter for Toronto, we'll talk about Quentin Jackson for the Pacers, and then the Nets. Depending who's out for them, maybe we could go back to Tyrese Martin, whose price didn't come up. Again, these are three guys who've been kind of outproducing what we should be expecting from them. But with their prices not moving, they're still going to be good plays, and the field is getting there, but maybe not as aggressively as they should be. So I don't mean to jump around too much, but those three, I think, are all really interesting, depending on kind of where ownership shakes out.
Nice. I'm gonna get to some of these comments before we move to another team. Told y'all Eason would have a good game. Yeah, man. It's like he had a good game at 1%, and it didn't even matter because Amon Thompson still put up 50. He's still going to continue to be a great GPP play every day, though. That everyone's focused on Amon right now.
Mhm.
What's up, Unicorn, Heath, playing Sabonis and Murray? Yeah, Murray's going to look like a pretty decent GPP play, particularly on DraftKings under 10% ownership. On FanDuel, the 6,300 at 24%. He's probably like not core, but he's a player who kind of makes lineups easier, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Again, I like where he's priced. I like the matchup. Um, Kind of scoring dependent to be paying into the 6K range, but on a slate like this, forward's kind of hard to fill. I like him a lot.
I just want him to get like 10 rebounds a game. He's such a good rebounder, and it feels like he doesn't try half the time.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. They like box out guys for Sabonis at times. Like, I don't know. Back when Russ was getting all those triple doubles, you'd see Steven Adams. He could have like 15 rebounds a game, but he'd like box out guys so Russ could get the rebounds. It seems like the Kings do that for Sabonis a little bit. I have no idea why. But yeah, it's enough for me to kind of want the points more than anything if I'm clicking Murray. If his shot's not falling, I'm not going to feel good about that play.
Let's take a look at the other side of the Sacramento game, Portland. I see a comment. Aiton from Portland is only 6K on FanDuel. His backups are out. And then Colin like Shaden Sharp. Yeah, I've been over on Shaden Sharp every day, and I think we should definitely be interested in Aiton at this price. He's pulling the ownership, but I think it's probably appropriate. Where are you at on this team after Denny?
Yeah, I have one lineup I built in the $55 today. It has eight in its center. I just think the price is insane. You're gonna have to get different elsewhere because he is so chalky. But at the same time, I mean, again, like they said, I mean, he's got Doo-Wop Reed there who they don't seem to want to give any minutes to. But with Klingon and Robert Williams both out, very secure minutes here. Against Sabonis, not the worst matchup either defensively. Some extra usage to go around with guys like Jeremy Grant out. So again, just checking too many boxes for me not to like him. And even at the DK price of 6,600, I think he's a pretty solid play. So you're getting him even cheaper on FanDuel, and you do get extra points for those stocks. Yeah, he looks damn good here. Probably my favorite center play tonight.
Yep. Love Aiton. 34 minutes last game is really solid. We have him projected for 33. So
Mhm.
even giving him an extra minute, he'd look even better in the model. And then Shaden Sharp. Love Shaden Sharp as a GPP play. Anthony Simons had a really good game after kind of letting everyone down every single game the rest of the season. But he's pulling the ownership today. His price is still around 6K. Are you interested in getting back there? Or do you think this is just kind of people chasing his good game?
I mean, it feels a little chasey, but at the same time, with Grant out, there is a little bit of extra usage to go around here. I'm fine getting to him, but I don't know if he's going to be popular. I'll probably come in under the field. Like this is that prototypical kind of point guard, shooting guard hybrid type play. Like you look at Suggs on Orlando, Tyler Hero at times. I mean, he's been playing above this level, so I don't really want to include him in that group. But there's a bunch of these like shooting guard types that really have upside. They're the type of guys you want to play in tournaments, but I don't know, like four times out of seven, they're gonna fail. So you just use them in large field. To me, that's Simons here. Sharp, kind of similar, a little bit higher of a floor, but I'm fine with both of them. I'm just going to keep it on the ownership and kind of zig where the field zags. I like them. Can't say I love either though, where they're priced.
I like the point you made about Grant being off the court because if you told me with 100% certainty that Anthony Simons was going to take 20 shots tonight, I'd be well over the field. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, he just hadn't been when he was playing terrible. So maybe he'll have the opportunity tonight. So he's probably actually okay at this ownership, even if it seems kind of high since it's much higher than it was. But like Nick pointed out, it is a kind of a different situation.
Yep.
Anything else from Portland you want to mention? Delano Banton?
I don't like Banton because Scoot's back. I mean, Banton's a beast in terms of points per minute, but his minutes aren't going to be secure with Simons and Scoot healthy. So I'm having trouble getting to him. I mean, if anything, maybe some Tumani Kamara, but I'm not crazy about it because his price is a little bit higher than it probably should be. So yeah, I mean, I love Avida and Aiton. The front court here is really where I'm focused. Don't mind mixing in Simon Sharp. Maybe Kamara is like a last piece in, but yeah, I don't feel too good about much here. I will say Scoot. He has been playing a little bit better. Only one game back from the injury. He played 35 minutes, which I think is a season high for him, maybe a career high. Really looked pretty decent even with limited usage. So I'd probably go to him over Banton, and that's more just that I trust his minutes more than I trust Banton's right now. But I can't say I'm excited to get to either necessarily.
Yeah, I think getting to pieces from both of these teams is probably one of the ways we want to
Mhm.
go tonight. Whoever you
Oh yeah,
pick. Has Halliburton finally turned it around? He threw some stinkers, but looks like he's playing consistent now. I said
Blitz.
this on the show that his home
Yeah,
away splits are insane, and I was playing him because he was playing at home, and so far I'm 3 for 3 on that. So if he's at home today, which it looks like he is,
he is.
I'm gonna have some interest. And it's so dumb, but it seems to be like a real thing, like affecting Halliburton's life because he's terrible on the road, and he's a borderline all star at home this season, as bad as he's been seeming. So Halliburton, how interested are you today?
He's at home. I'm very interested, and that's as easy as it is. And I don't know. I like to dig into these stupid NBA narratives. A lot of them are goofy, but I think on the road he's like hanging out with young white girls, and that has been an issue for him. And again, I have no real facts to base this on. Probably shouldn't even bring it up, but it's kind of a meme, so I think it's funny to bring up if nothing else. But the splits are real.
Yeah.
Rumors aside, he's been much better at home. Probably has his own apartment, own routine when he is in Indiana. When he's on the road, he's I don't know swiping on the apps and getting in trouble. Maybe I don't know what it is, but I'm happy to play him here at home. Pretty high total game too. Detroit's defense has improved, but not to the point that I'm not targeting opponents against them.
And a few other players on Indiana are pulling ownership. I've been mentioning Quentin Jackson. What now? Quentin Jackson, he's pulling minutes, and I'm pretty sure it's because he's good on defense. Otherwise,
Mhm.
I mean, they have TJ McConnell for that. But remember, Naismith and Nemhard are out, so that's kind of why he's getting the increased opportunity. But he's played 32 minutes, 2 games in a row. We only have him projected for 29, so I don't know that we can project him for the 32. But I actually think this ownership is appropriate at the price.
Yeah, I like him. He's someone I'm mixing in his value for sure. Again, they have him in there for defense. Rick Carlisle, it's tough for young players to win him over. Jackson seems to have done that, and he did it much quicker than guys like Benedict Mathurin did. So credit to him. But again, you mentioned Naismith is out, Nemhard is out, Shepard is out as well, I believe. That's
Mhm.
really kind of created this increased opportunity for him. So he's a great value play. Again, you're probably going to get close to 30 minutes here in a decent matchup.
And I will mention Benedict Mathurin and Siakam. I think are pretty solid GPP plays. And Miles
Yep.
Turner, I have mild interest in, but he's probably my least favorite play from the starting five.
Yeah, I don't mind him. Just price where he should be though. It's tough for him to really break a slate.
Nice. I guess let's take a look at the other side of this game and look at Detroit. Cade Cunningham expected to play today, right? He's not. Is he expected or is he still questionable?
I have the injury report right here. Let me just scroll to Detroit. Da, 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 da. He's questionable with
Okay.
sacroiliac joint sprain. I think he went through shoot around though. I imagine he's in.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I built with him in, so it just everyone on the team is kind of priced for him to be out. So I mean, is there anyone that we could even have GPP interest in here?
That's the issue, right? I mean, Harris, Ivy, both okay plays, pretty good matchup, but they're priced really where they should be. Like they're gonna have to really have an outlier game for them to really be something you want in your lineups and tournaments. Duren really hasn't hit a ceiling lately. Pacers haven't been great against defending against centers, but it's not really a spot I'm looking to. I wanted to say Isaiah Stewart, but I don't know what the hell happened last game. I played him, only played 18 minutes. I don't even think he was in foul trouble. He just played terribly he got benched. So Stewart at 4,100 would interest me, but I don't know what the hell happened last game. I'd have to look a little bit deeper into that. Only played 18 minutes, did absolutely nothing. But when he's on the floor this year, his fantasy point per minute's been excellent. And with Duren not playing that well, I could see him getting more minutes. I'm just kind of taken back by what happened that last game against who was it? The Grizzlies. It was just really weird spot. Only played 18 minutes. And again, I'm looking here. Where's his fouls? Zero fouls. So like I don't even know what the hell happened.
Yeah, that's a weird one, but I think I agree. Not too much to be interested in here. A couple percent of Ivy, maybe Cunningham. I'm considering, like, just looking at it. Jalen Duran shouldn't be affected negatively by Cade Cunningham being back, and he's still 2%, and his price is kind of where it was when Cade went out. So I don't. I think that's probably my favorite GPP play to get in a few percent.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I actually think he's better with Cade in because Cade kind of creates shots for him, running pick and roll, things like that. He's been bad, like I said, but that could just be a product of Cade missing time. So something to keep an eye on. Definitely don't mind getting to a little bit of Duran. Just prefer Aiton for sure, and they're priced similarly.
And Colin in the chat, thoughts on Conley last man in. DK need 4,600 last man util. So sliding the model, the filter down to 4,700. These are the top plays in DK value order. At 4,500, looks like you can get to Missy, Dalton Connect, Isaiah Joe, and Dalton Connect. Did his price go down? He's probably starting now. Uh, Gonna look pretty okay tonight. What do you think about Mike though?
I'm fine with him. Again, I mean, kind of priced where he should be. Definitely can spike a ceiling that more than justifies that price point. We also see floor games out of him from time to time. But
Mm-hmm.
he's one of the vocal leaders on this team. I mean, the Timberwolves have been a mess. Sounds like him and Edwards are the two guys having these conversations, trying to get at the Goberts and Randalls. I'm fine with Conley. I do just want to mention, though, you mentioned Missy. He's not on the main slate. That game, I think, already locked. So do not look
Oh,
for you.
nice.
He's unavailable.
DK main. Yeah, that'd be a good one. So what I will point out, I don't mind Mike Conley as a last man,
Yeah.
and it's the type of player that he is at this price. I'll just point out like the two best value plays on DraftKings on the model are Jacoby Walter and Quentin Jackson, and then the model is picking up on Dalton Connect being a good value. I thought his price was too low. I'm pretty thrilled that his ownership is this low. I'd like to get over the field, not like 70% or anything, but it's not that hard to get over these numbers. What do you think about these top of value guys? These top three?
Yeah, I kind of started the show talking about Walter and Jackson. I'm really happy that the model's getting there as well.
Yeah.
Again, Jackson's going to start. I'm pretty confident in that. Keep an eye on the Toronto lineup. We just want to confirm that Walter's starting again. He's coming off a ridiculously good game. And again, I don't think we're going to be able to expect 40 DK points in 27 minutes, but you don't need that. I mean, if he has 25 DK points in 22 minutes, I'm going to be pretty damn happy where he's near minimum price. So I really do like Walter. Just make sure he's starting. Jackson, we already talked about plenty. And as far as Neck goes, you know I'm a fan of his. I am kind of surprised that the prices come down so much. Again, very scoring dependent in a lot of ways. He's capable of doing other things, but if he's going to hit a ceiling, his shot's falling. I mean, 4 threes last time out. We've seen him hit as many as 9 in a game this season. Not that that's something you could ever project, but I'll say like if you're comparing him to Conley the higher floor for sure, but Connect probably the higher ceiling, knowing what he's capable of from the 3 point line. So kind of depends what the rest of your build looks like, but very comfortable getting to Dalton tonight for sure.
My thing is, he was priced higher when he was coming off the bench, and now he's in a better role. We can project him for more minutes, and his price went down, but his ownership didn't jump. So I think he's a solid play. Probably more GPPE than the other guys, just based on the way he scores fantasy points.
Yeah, his huge games came with Rui out, and then when he came back, they were playing Rui off the bench. I think they were starting Reddish next to him. So now that he's next to Rui, that is going to cut into his usage a little bit because Cam Reddish is like one of the lowest usage players in the league, I think. But it's not enough to justify this price dip. So 4,500 is still a really solid upside play, in my opinion.
And then with Jacoby Walter, dude, it was giving me so much Jacoby Walter on the last slate, and I wasn't comfortable with it, so I didn't allow it. And he ended up destroying at no ownership. Um,
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's predicted for 27 minutes, but they're really dropping the ball on these prices because if he was 4K, 4,500 on FanDuel too, then, we'd have a decision to make. But I think he's good value at 3K. And you guys will know I'm comfortable telling you I think value's bad and watch them go off for 35 fantasy points at min price.
Yeah, I mean, he's just so damn cheap. Again, we want him to start, and we don't have much of a sample on him with the NBA team. I think this is his first game in weeks. But not only did he shoot well, he had 11 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals. He was doing it all, man. So feel more comfortable a play like this, like when you get Sam Merrill coming off a game where he hits 8 threes or something like that. This is a guy who could do a lot, and I like him as long as he starts here. I think he will.
And speaking of a Sam Merrill coming off a game hitting 8 threes, we have a question about Duncan Robinson, who started off the last game hitting like four in a row, ended up 7 for 12, playing 33 minutes, putting up 30 DK points, which is pretty good. 4,600. Assuming he starts, is this a guy that we can look at for like, I don't know, GPP pivot, I guess, at 3%, 14% ownership?
Yeah, I mean, I'd put him in that same range as like Connect, as Mike Conley. Like these are okay plays that have upside, but they can certainly fail you. I will say about Robinson, he was on fire. But if you look at what that did to Jimmy Butler, Butler's usage was a season low 7% that game. I don't know that we're ever going to see that from Jimmy again. He was really deferring, and that really kind of opened up the upside for a player like Duncan Robinson. Can't expect a repeat here. Don't necessarily need it at the price. I'm fine getting to him. But again, he's kind of boomer bust, last man in type play. Put him with the Conley connects to the world.
Nice. Looking at Toronto, is Pirtle and Avoid with Barnes back in. You like the game for him, but he's been down with Scotty back. The problem is his price hasn't really corrected to where it was before, right?
Yeah, we want him like sub 7K before we start
Yeah.
playing him again. Barnes being in is huge for his rebounding upside. I mean, Barrett as well is in there. He gets boards. And it's a terrible matchup, honestly, against Bam pushing 8K. I have zero interest. I'll probably have none of him tonight.
And then I do like Scotty Barnes. I think his ownership is pretty appropriate given that
Mhm.
he's going against Miami. So like him as a GPP play. Like I feel like everyone else besides Walter is still kind of overpriced. Maybe Agbaji's worth a couple shots. Chris Boucher on DraftKings, but other than that, not much interest.
Yeah, it's tough to like the matchup. Sub 220 point total. You mentioned Agbaji, Barrett. They're fine, but again, not anything I'd be really touting or rushing to get to. Barnes, we've seen the upside at his price. Makes him a good tournament play, but there's a lot to like in that range tonight. I mean, we got Jalen Williams, we'll talk about, I'm sure. Anthony Edwards, who's been pissed off. I like a pissed off Ant Edwards, similar price. So there's a lot to like in that range. But if it keeps the ownership on Barnes down, then he is going to be a good tournament play for sure.
I'm going to rattle off a couple comments real quick. Jalen Wilson was just ruled out. Is that right? For the Nets. Oh, no, he's available to play. I'm sorry. Nick Claxton available to play, and then Norman Powell was ruled out. I saw a question about Ben Simmons in the chat, 5,600 on FanDuel. They're going up against Orlando. I hate the matchup, but I kind of like this Nets team right now until the price is correct more with Cam Thomas out. So, how do you like your team?
Yeah, so I'm trying to piece through this injury news right now. So you said both Zaire and Jalen are in?
Nothing about Zaire Claxton's in, and then Jalen Wilson's in, and then I guess I assume that Zaire is just good to go off the injury report. I might be
Yeah,
mistaken.
I thought he'd be in. So it's tough. I mean, first of all, it's a bad matchup against Orlando. This is the lowest total game on the slate.
Mm-hmm.
But with Schroeder out as well, there is a crazy amount of usage to go around. If the Nets are going to stay in this game, I actually think Ben Simmons is probably where you start. Um, Cheap enough, obviously doesn't feel great, especially in a matchup like this, but he does have upside. Cam Johnson needs to get hot from three. Both him and Finney Smith are interesting. But the play I want to talk about, and it's chasing first and foremost. We don't recommend ever doing this. Tyrese Martin pretty much beat the Phoenix Suns on his own.
Mm.
He's still min priced on DK, only 9% owned. I think you should probably match the field if you're playing 150, just knowing he has that 10x in his bag. Don't think we see it here. But again, these guys don't need to do what they did last game if their prices don't move. He kind of falls into that category for me. Trendon Wofford, another guy I would like to see get more minutes against a pretty big Orlando team. Maybe he gets over that 22 minute hump here, which he's been kind of stuck on all season. The thing with the Nets, like I can't sit here and say there's one great play. They all look okay. They're all underpriced, other than maybe Cam Johnson. But at the same time, Jordy Fernandez, front runner for Coach of the Year, in my opinion, he's been running these deep rotations, and he also goes with the hot hand. So, like, if say Keon Johnson plays a 5 minute stint and gets hot, he can take all the minutes from someone like Wilson or Watford. Or Martin. So like you're really just playing this game of roulette, and it's very difficult to feel confident about anything. But I think you want to mix these guys in. If I'm saying anything safe here, it is probably Ben Simmons, which just saying that sentence out loud, I don't feel great about. But yeah, he's really going to have to command this offense with Schroeder and Thomas both out.
Man, you introducing me to a play like Tyrese Martin is really dangerous because you know I'm going to play a ton of this guy. The guy I was looking at was Shake Milton. If he starts, do you? I mean, do you think just start Ben Simmons at the point?
Yeah, I think that starts him as the point. It's funny. I played a bunch of Milton last slate in a similar scenario, and he did nothing, and it was Martin who kind of went off. So I'm liking your headspace. Like Milton was the guy I thought we'd see kind of take up a lot of this. But yeah, I mean, they're running Ben at the point with Claxton back. These guys can coexist on the floor. So they really just surround them with spacers, guys that can shoot threes, Cam Johnson, Zaire, Finney Smith, Tyrese Martin. But again, they're running a really deep rotation. This is a low total game. So I can't sit here and say I feel great about anything, honestly. I mean, I love my Nets, but tonight, definitely a tough spot with their two best guards out.
And I'll just mention I'm getting some Keon Johnson as well interested there at 3,200. Not expecting him to start at all though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing with Keon, like I like him, kind of defense first though right now. He's been taking threes, hasn't been making them. Again, Martin's on fire. I don't know. I might just play a little bit of the hot hand. I'll probably be over the field at 3,800. I think he's unowned on FanDuel, which seems a little bit crazy.
If you're watching this live right now, the Raiders have the ball at the KC 32 with like 30 seconds left, down by two. They're already in field goal range. Their kicker already missed a long field goal. Carlson's missing. They can't let the Chiefs lose. So we'll see what happens there.
Just gonna shine a laser pointer in his eyes. In a second.
I see a couple questions. Turner or Gobert, Hartenstein or Turner. I can tell you that my answer to that is always going to be Hartenstein until the price gets absurd. 6,800 on DraftKings is one of my favorite center plays. And if I'm looking at him versus Miles Turner, for me, it's not close. I know that the range of outcomes really isn't that apart, but love Hartenstein today. Gobert has not been Gobert. Not sure what to do with it going up against Zubac. What are your favorite center plays today?
Well, we already talked about Aiton. He's probably number one for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to call Sabonis a center, I do like him with the extra usage that DeRozan's affording. Hartenstein over on DK. Agreed, he's underpriced. A little bit tougher for me to get to him on FanDuel. I actually don't mind getting to some Zubac again with Powell out. This is under the assumption that Powell's out. If Powell's in, and I think someone may have said that in chat, if Powell's in, that is going to cut into the upside for Zoo. So
He's out.
I like
Or wait, no, he's out. Powell's out.
he's out. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Then yeah, I do like Zubac once again. But yeah, I mean, I'm really heavy on eight in his chalk, and I don't feel crazy good about it. But at the same time, I don't feel bad about it. Mixing in a little bit of Turner. If I get a Ford AD, fine getting to him. But it's mostly eight in the payups tonight. I'm not finding much value. I like its center. There's enough value at shooting guard and a few of the other positions.
So this Clippers Minnesota game is a low total. It's a 6.5 point spread. We have Zubac projected for 31.3 minutes. He hasn't gotten there in the last few games, but all of these games have been blowouts. He played 31 against Orlando in a close game, 36 against Golden State close, 33 close, 30. They were down by 20. If this game stays close, I mean, Zubac's minutes are under projected. I'd like to give him an extra minute, maybe two, but
Yeah.
I think he's also just such a strong GPP play. Love playing him in lineups with Aiden.
Oh, totally agree. Yeah, after Ayton, he's probably my next favorite if we're not counting like AD and Sabonis. Again, just with Powell out, that extra usage has really gone heavily to Zoo. Harden still kind of the de facto point guard more than he is taking shots. I know he took a million his last game, but Zubac is the one who's been benefiting more than anyone.
Yeah, I think fire up Zubac and just hope the game stays close. They don't have a backup. I mean, they have Mobamba, but I mean, they tried the Kai Jones thing. It didn't really work out. Mobamba came out hot, and he's better than Kai Jones. But I mean, obviously, they still want Zubac on the court as often as they can.
Yeah. The Raiders
Uh,
just fumble. What the hell is happening?
no, they didn't, dude. They spiked it. Wait, why did they even run a
Chiefs had
play?
the ball. I don't know what the hell happened, but someone in
Aiden
chat tell us, I guess.
Aiden O'Connell spiked it on second down, and then they ran a play on third down with 14 seconds left, and he fumbled it,
They
dude.
did fumble. Wow.
I had a sweat before the stream started. I haven't looked since. I don't know if I had like one in first and I had one competing. That would have been a smaller chop, but I guess we'll find out later.
Oh man, yeah, he botched the snap. Shouts out a few power Chris Davis. A few guys mentioned it, but yeah, Chiefs, man, they're God's team.
So the Magic are starting Wendell Carter next to Batadze again. We saw this last time. I mean, Magic. Jalen Suggs is back. Franz Wagner is maximum price. I don't have 0%. Still playing him a bit. What else are you looking at from Orlando?
I actually don't mind a little bit of Batadze. Again, there were no real value centers I was rushing to get to. That's defense in the front court's not bad, but it's not enough for me to shy away. Carter, even though he's starting, I still think they're giving him limited minutes. We're seeing Mo Wagner and Isaac continue to be pretty heavy part of this rotation. So if anything, maybe some Goga. But again, I mean, the game here, 208 total. It's like 20, 30 points lower than a lot of the others. These guys are kind of priced where they should be. I'm not afraid to come in under owned on all of Orlando tonight. I mean, Franz is Franz, obviously massive upside, but to want to pay near 10K for him with some of the other plays we have on the slate, it doesn't feel good.
My mistake, guys. The center messed up. Aiden O'Connell, our god, did not fumble. My bad. Uh,
Crazy.
my only thing with Batadze is I can just find the 1400 more and get to guys like Aiden or Zubak.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
Okay, nice. I think we got through most of the question. It seems fishy. I mean, it.
Crazy. Yeah. I mean,
Let's see. Are there any other interesting teams that you think we maybe missed on? I mean, Boston, Chicago is kind of an
that was
interesting
the one.
game.
Yeah, yeah. Boston. This matchup is amazing. Horford's out, and yeah, I mean, you kind of have to like Tatum, Jalen, Derek White. I think all three of them are good where they're priced. I don't know that I'd want more than one, but they all have massive upside here. This game is a 244 point total. I think that's the highest on the board. I don't know if the Bulls can keep it competitive. At the same time, Boston kind of plays down to the level of their opponent at times. I can see this being close enough. And if it's NBA Cup, I was hoping you maybe had the insight on what the Celtics need to do here. Like, does point differential matter for them? And if it does, I'd be loading up on Boston. It's just such a good matchup. Like, the one thing keeping me off is that fear of blowout, but we've seen it time and time again. They can get there in three quarters. So, want to get some Tatum in my life for sure. Jalen Brown, Derek White as well. I mean, you could maybe mix in Drew. Not crazy about KP at his price until the minutes come up. But those starting four are fine. And then obviously Pritchard Hauser as like last pieces in. And I misspoke. Horford isn't out. He's just way down the depth chart today for some reason at the site I'm looking at. So just ignore that. But at the same time, Tatum, Brown, White, all look great.
I won. I won the showdown.
Oh yeah. How many? What did it hit for?
FanDuel, I won a $2 for 500,
Oh
and
yeah.
then DraftKings, I had the second nuts, dude, and the or third nuts in the $3 for still profited there, but good NFL day. Nice. I thought this was my best plug I've ever written. If you guys are Occupy members, I write the Sunday night plug. I wrote today's plug, special plug, and felt really good about it. So happy to see that pay off. Hopefully, our NBA takes pay off here.
Nice.
Um, sorry, I was a little distracted just now, but
I get it. I
hey,
know that feeling all too well.
I wanted to talk about the Celtics and the Cup. So they're 2-1. They have a 14-point differential. They're tied with the Bulls. So this is like the direct outcome of today's game advances. And so I don't know that point differential is going to matter though, because the Hawks lead that group, but I think that the second place still gets in. So I actually, if someone in the chat knows if point differential matters, specifically for East Group C with the Bulls, Celtics, and Hawks, let us know. Because my original thought was that they're just going to let Tatum, Brown, whoever run the whole game to try to run up the point differential. But now I'm actually not sure if it matters. They might just need the win.
Yeah, if they're in just beating the Bulls, then it probably doesn't. But if they do need to, I mean, they probably get an extra home game if they climb over Atlanta. Maybe I don't know how that works. But again, they look damn good regardless. It's just how good and how heavy do you want to be on them? Maybe depends on some of those weird NBA Cup rules.
Yeah, it doesn't look like I'm as heavy as the field is on these guys, but I am. A lot of days I just get no exposure to the Celtics, but I today I am. Never mind. I'm getting a ton of exposure to Tatum and then modest exposure to like Jalen Brown, who's probably a really solid GPP play, and a little bit of everyone else.
Oh, yeah.
From the Bull
Yeah,
side,
Brown always gets overlooked.
yeah, he does.
Bulls
Yeah, Bull side.
side.
What's I'm getting zero exposure to the Bulls on DraftKings. It's a first slate this entire season, and then 1% to Kobe White on FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean, you're dealing with the White, Giddy, Levine. Like all three of them are okay, but they're all priced where they should be. Maybe one spikes the ceiling, but not only do you have to pick the right from guy from that group, they also have to get there. I mean, still no Patrick Williams, so if anything, maybe AO at his price makes some sense. Wide range of outcomes for him. I'm fine getting a Don Sumo as long as he's starting, but at the same time, I mean, I'm not crazy about anything here. We've seen Bucelas get more minutes lately. Really hasn't been hitting value. Kid's talented. Definitely someone to keep an eye on moving forward. But I think they actually have Lonzo Ball in the rotation tonight too, which is insane. So if anything, it's just going to kind of muck things up and cut into some of the upside for some of these guys. It would just be AO for me. Obviously, Vooch is Vooch. He's been having a good year. You could play him here, but I don't know. I'd rather go higher or lower at center. Not really trying to pay 8K for Vooch. So AO, if anything, that's really it.
So we've seen a few times this year where the Celtics are they're playing a bad team, and honestly, the spread seems too close to me. I would have thought it was larger, and we've seen the Celtics play down to their level of competition, and so I don't know if the field is projecting a blow. Like none of these guys individually project well, but because they're unowned, it's just if they stay in this game and the Boston guys go off, these could be really solid runbacks. So, like I said, I'm not really getting to much, but I will force in a few percent of a few of these guys just to have them in my exposures.
Yeah, any of the starters makes some sense. I wouldn't talk anyone off of them. It's just they're priced about where they should be.
Pretty much talked about every game except OKC Lakers, so let's touch on that for a bit. Let's start with OKC. We did get a couple questions about Hartenstein. I love him tonight. If we didn't have Aiton and Zubac, I would probably be very overweight, but those three are probably going to take up most of my center exposure. Jalen Williams has been phenomenal. Still very comfortable paying for this price when he's going to come in this low owned, and SGA is SGA. What else do you like from OKC?
If Isaiah Joe starts again, you could add him to that group of Mac Conley, like the 10 guys that are mid 4K that I said are boom or bust. You could kind of throw him into that bunch as maybe a way to get different. Earlier today, it looked like the field was getting there. Like when he's popular, that's not a play I'm very interested in. But at the same time, I mean, he is going to play minutes as long as he's starting. He's been a little bit better than Wallace or Wiggins have been coming off the bench. I really do like SGA with Chet being out. We've seen that ceiling more out of him lately. I'm pretty comfortable getting up to him. But you mentioned Jalen Williams, Hartenstein. It's really those three. Dort, I never get to at this price. He's fine, but yeah, never paying mid 5K for him unless everybody's out. SGA for sure. I want to try to get over the field, checking his ownership. It's low, so it's pretty easy to get high on SGA in terms of exposure. And then Jalen Williams and Hartenstein will definitely be part of my net as well.
Jalen Williams had 37 fantasy points at halftime last
Yeah,
game.
he broke his face. Yeah, I had that. I
Yeah,
had him in everything.
yeah, he got poked in the eye. Oh my gosh, dude! I thought his PRA was gonna just it was a lock, and he just didn't return because of the eye injury. I'm convinced that if he comes back in the second half, I mean, he probably it's fair to say he would have been in the 50 range. And I
Oh
would
yeah.
have to think that the kind of that thing we mentioned with Malik Monk going off last game is influencing his ownership today. I would think that's influencing his ownership here, or not influencing it anyway, I guess, if that made any sense at all. But either way, the point is, I think he's low owned and he's just such a phenomenal GPP play. His median projection is not really going to be picked up. That's why his ownership is so low. So you probably have to manually bump him. But if you're using the Occupy model, you're already getting him in there because he's one of the top plays overall, third overall on the entire slate. Whereas no other site out there is going to have Jalen Williams like even showing up as a few percent play.
I absolutely love him. I'm gonna have a ton of him. I mean, the one real takedown I had this year in the $12 single entry, he was in that lineup at 2% owned, scored 60 plus fantasy points, and I think Chet was still active then. So with Chet out, I mean, he's seeing even more usage. The Lakers defensively haven't been great. He's awesome, man. And again, I don't love the price, but he's been hitting value more than a lot of these other 9K plays. So maybe we should just get used to it. He's going to be this 9K player probably for the next few years.
Yeah, because I mean, I was looking at him as a player. Like, if he's 8,400, I'm playing him, and now he's evolved to the point where I'm very comfortable playing him at this price. And I mean, we saw Lamelo climb above 10K. We're still playing him. I don't know that Jalen Williams is on that level, but he's probably still underpriced.
Yeah, it's like him, Jalen Johnson, Franz. Like, there's sticker shock on them still right now. Of that group, I think Jalen Williams is the guy who's been the most trustworthy. So,
Yeah, and then looking at the Lakers side, my tragic Lakers. So I thought we looked so good when JJ Redick came. The offense looked better, the defense looked better, and yeah, we were winning. But just watching the games, it was completely different. Then we kind of went back into our old habits, and now I think we're getting back to where we were at the beginning of the season. Uh, with all that said, AD looks phenomenal. D'Lo, I think he looks really good in his bench role in the 4,400. I'm comfortable playing him almost every day. And like I mentioned earlier, Dalton Connect starting at 4,500, I think is a mistake to only be 15% owned.
Yeah, I'm with you. D'Lo's been so much better coming off the bench, and again, I mean, a lot of that is confidence. A lot of that's not sharing the court as much with LeBron and AD, just getting that extra usage, running that second unit. So yeah, D'Lo might be my favorite Laker here. I'm totally fine getting to AD and LeBron wherever you're landing on them. I think they're both solid. Reeves a little bit overpriced to me right now. Same with Rui. But yeah, AD, LeBron, and then a little bit of connect. But I do really like D'Lo, especially if the field's not getting there.
And I made a comment about LeBron on a recent stream that I'm never going to win a GPP with him in the lineup because I just don't play him. He's 5 and 6% owned. I don't like the price and I don't like the matchup, but these are the days that I am willing to get more like over the field on LeBron. Maybe I'll have 10, 11%, maybe not even that, but just thought
Yeah,
I'd mention that.
yeah, he's fine.
And then let's go back to just top overall plays on the slate in order of OF index: SGA, Tatum, Jalen Williams, DeMantis, Anthony Davis, Fox, and let's put Halliburton, LeBron. I think we'll cut it off there at the 12 OF index. Franz Wagner's a little disappointing OF considering the price today. Same with Anthony Edwards, Cade Cunningham. The model's telling us these are guys we can play a little bit less of. Do you have any disagreements there?
The only disagreement, I think Edwards, where he's owned, is probably under owned. Like, I do want to get over the field on him. It's very easy to do. SGA is under owned, but he's the top OF index play. So just leaning into the model on that one. Very easy to come over the field. I'll probably get to 30 or so percent of SGA on FanDuel. Tatum where he should be. Williams under owned. Davis about where he should be. Sabonis and Fox are chalky. They probably should be, though. So, yeah, I guess the one thing I maybe disagree with. It's just how popular the Kings are. But at the same time, like you're playing one lineup tonight, it's really tough to get away from them. I think Edwards is a little bit underowned, as I do with SGA. But I mean, the model's the model. I tend to agree with it for the most part.
Just another note on Fox versus Sabonis. The model, like, it doesn't have them tied. Sabonis has the edge, and his ownership is half
Lower.
of what Fox's is. So that's like a
Mhm.
pretty easy pivot. You're going to get sort of a different lineup construction than a majority of the field. So that's a pretty easy way to get a little bit different, I guess.
Yeah, if you could find the salary to upgrade Fox to SGA and then get Sabonis in your lineups, like that's a damn good start to builds tonight. I think.
And I think we do get an extra half hour before lock today, if I'm not mistaken. Lock is 1 hour from right now.
Mhm.
It's 30 after. We'll build a quick dummy and get out of here. Throw your last minute questions in here. We do have Discord Q&A on this Friday. Jayhawk's going to be starting that at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Instructions to join that are in the description below. So we mentioned it earlier. Denny Abdia, first player in the dummy build today, but who's second?
Let's see. Denny is definitely first. If he starts, I don't see how we don't go Jacoby Walter.
Right. Yep. Totally
3K
agree.
flat, yeah.
Jacoby Walter. Man, I had a good feeling about NFL today. I have a good feeling about NBA today.
Let's go. Love to hear it.
Jacoby. How do you spell Jacoby?
J A apostrophe
Jacoby
Kobe.
Walter. We got I Walker, J Walker, J Walter. I mean, we're gonna have a ton of salary left over. Do we want to start looking at which centers we want to play here?
I mean, we both seem to love Aiton. I think we just go with him.
And then we'll see how the rest of the lineup turns out. But in my second util, if I was hand building this for myself, I would probably have Zubac or Hartenstein in there. They're the same price too, which makes that even more of an annoying decision.
I like it. Yep. It just means we're probably not getting some bonus, which is fine. But yeah, I like both those center plays.
I think we should play one of these Kings guys. So do we want
Uh,
to plug in who?
yeah, I guess it's Fox just because we're using
Okay.
Aiton and Hartenstein, right? Or Zubac at center.
Nice. Let's plug in Fox. My computer has a double clicking problem and threw Jalen Williams in for us. I don't think we can put him in the core, but we both agree he's a very strong play.
Oh yeah.
6,500 per player. I mean, do we want to
I
go for
mean,
another value play? Quentin Jackson.
I was just gonna say Quentin Jackson is probably the one that makes the most sense. I'm fine with it. Yeah,
Quentin Jackson.
minutes are
And there,
there.
yeah, and it's like you mentioning you liking SGA. There's really only four studs, like true studs on this slate. I don't know if you count a bonus, but it's these top four, and only Tatum really was pulling heavy ownership. AD was pulling a little bit, but it's not hard to get to SGA and LeBron. Do we want to just throw
Yeah,
Tatum in here?
yeah. Tatum at that, he looks great.
So that still leaves us 6K. I'll plug in Zubac. I mean, Hartenstein, same price, so same thing. Leaves us 5,100 for a forward. That gives us no one we're terribly interested in, but make your adjustments. these are all very strong plays. Maybe plug in Malik Monk somewhere in here for someone, but I think this is a pretty strong start to your
Yeah.
lineup.
No, I agree. That looks good. I mean,
Sorry, I'm
all solid
struggling,
plays.
man. We just got a piece of news. Let me mention that before we get out of here. Cam Johnson's in, and so Nets, like I mentioned earlier, I think they're all good plays in a vacuum, but terrible matchup today. We talked about which value plays we like from there.
Mhm.
Anything else you want to mention before we get out of here?
No, not really. Yeah, I don't think there's much news we're waiting on as far as the later games go, so we should be pretty much set. Just keep an eye on ownership. I think, like I said earlier, there's so many ways to get different today, just mixing in some of this value. I mean, looking at the chalk value right now, what's really popular? I don't even know. Um, I don't know. It all kind of makes sense. I probably wouldn't get much Kevin Porter. He seems overowned to me. That's like one guy who's kind of standing out. But yeah, the ownership's pretty flat. Fun slate. NBA Cup. Still don't know what that means half the time. But I like that you're having a good feeling tonight. I think I do as well. Let's win some damn money.
And to add on to your point just now, there's no one owned today that makes me feel like I want to fade them. Like pretty much every day, I'm telling you guys to fade people that are projected as good plays. But today, I don't think anyone's bad. So it just feels like a pretty easy day with enough low owned guys. And Powers doing some work in the chat. Want to show some love to him, giving us Jimmy, Scary Terry, Duncan Robinson, Kobe White, Jalen Smith, Dalen Terry, and Cornette are all in. Appreciate you for letting us know.
Thank you, Power. Appreciate that.
Do we think Cade will be limited? It's hard to say. I'm usually of the mind that if they're good to go, they're good to go. But he's 9,800. So are you going to have any percent of Cade if you made 150 today?
Just because I'm so over on SGA, I don't think I will.
Yeah, I think 1-2%. But he's not a guy that I'd play over SGA if I'm only hand building a couple. And then Nick, last question: Simmons and Monk or Suggs and Dunn?
Simmons and Monk for me.
Yeah, my answer too. So appreciate you guys. Check out Jayhawk in about 25 minutes in the Discord. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.